John Watkins was initiated into the Ohio Lambda chapter of Phi Kappa Psi in 1979.
I started rushing several houses, but I think on the second or third night, it became very clear to me that Phi Psi was the right fit. The values, the quality of the guys, the way they were pitching the house in terms of what they valued and what was important to them really aligned with who I was as a person.
Studying both marketing and international business, John balanced rigorous coursework and maintained active involvement with the fraternity. As an undergraduate, John visited China for the first time, establishing the trajectory of the rest of his life.
I flew in from Hong Kong to Guangzhou, and all of the reading, all of the conversations I had just had jet fuel dumped on them, when I landed in China. And just meeting the people, being there in person, it was just so different and so foreign, yet so exciting to be there and to see the possibilities of where that would go.
After graduating from Miami University, John set his sights on a life abroad. He moved to Shanghai to study the Chinese language, and shortly thereafter, a lifelong connection to China was born. In 1984, John began his nearly 2 decades tenure with Northwest Airlines.
I was employee number 3 in 1984, and there were just 3 of us. We had to do all the jobs. I learned the airline business from the bottoms up. So it was really helpful in my career, just having touched all parts of that instead of being a specialist in one area.
John left Northwest Airlines, serving as corporate vice president and general manager for all the airline's China operations after securing the first ever strategic alliance between a U.S. and Chinese carrier for code-share flights. A very significant and challenging deal.
I used to box, and I like to tell people I was a boxer, and my wife would say, "John, you were never a boxer, you were always a boxee." What I learned in boxing is you would never punch somebody like this with a finger. And the real impact was, coming together. But the punches that I remember most receiving and delivering were the ones that started in the base of my foot, in my toes, through my foot, through my legs, through the core. And that's where you had the impact. And so engaging, all parts of the body. I learned this very early in business, that there's only so much I can do as an individual. What I learned is that I'm pretty good at bringing highly talented people together that who normally may not work well with others, and getting us all united around a common vision, common purpose. Working together to achieve difficult things and serving other people. And the joy of serving others has sort of been one of the criteria of bringing other people into the teams that I build.
Following his departure from Northwest Airlines, John joined Cummins as the head of East Asia in a move that would be a hugely successful highlight of his career. From Cummins, John went on to lead a groundbreaking joint venture between GE Aviation and Avic, before a significant career shift into the fine wine industry.
Very thankful for the growth that I got as a person in China. Very thankful that I met my wife. We had our 2 kids there. China was very good to us.
John's commitment to the Phi Psi values of leadership and the great joy of serving others has been a through line of his career and personal endeavors. As an investor, John has leveraged his passion for building and supporting strong communities.
Of all the roles that I've had over the last 40 years, what we're doing at Cohatch is probably the most rewarding. And I say that because we go into communities, and typically we take over broken real estate and bring all of that back to life and celebrate the community. Part of our design concept, we say, is engineering collision. And so we want people to come together, whether that's rich, poor, urban, suburban, black, white, profit, nonprofit. We are very intentional in the design of how we bring people together. And so what we're seeing is lives, families, and communities being transformed, creating these random acts of kindness and sometimes intentional acts of kindness that get this virtuous cycle going on. Just being life on life and having this, just loving people and loving their whole person and not wanting something out of them, which is what Jesus did. He who had everything gave up everything, and he did that in love. And what does love mean? It means to put somebody else's interest before our own. And so I think That's been so powerful in my life. And I think as we take that attitude into our families, into our fraternities, into our workplaces, it can change the world. I'm very thankful for my 4 years at Miami University. I'm very thankful for the 3.5 years as a Phi Psi active at the chapter. It totally transformed my life. If we go back to the creed, talking about spiritual excellence, talking about being cultured, and really living these out in our daily lives. So I'm very proud to be associated with the other brothers and what we stand for, and what the founders initiated back in 1852.